Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back to Final Trade. I have got another one of these insane MTGRocks.com articles about speculating on junk cards. And this time it's talking about the hype around shrine cards in Kamigawa Neon Dynasty because the original Kamigawa, like what, 15, 18 years ago or something, had some shrines in it. They did some shrines in Core 21. I think they reprinted some in one of the master sets, and we're going to get more. I guess the leaks have come out that we're definitely going to get more. And you might want to buy older shrines soon in case the new shrine support elevates their prices. And I love how elevates their prices is bolded there. It's kind of like when you go into a gas station and you see the giant display of lottery tickets, and they're so colorful and bright, and they're like got foil on them and like sparkles, and they just look so fun. And it's like, let's bold this so we can get people's attention and be like, ooh, the prices are going to elevate. But as we've seen before in these previous videos that I've done about specking on modern junk cards, is that it's not enough to elevate the price. And we've seen that time and again where people thought that if the market price of the card doubled, they would double their money. But in a lot of cases with these cheap cards, if the market price doubles, you're still down 100% because of the fixed costs of shipping and market fees and things like that. And so he goes through and he says, we've got these new Goshen Tai shrines. And so I pulled them up over here on TCG Player, and look at that. They're all in the range of these cards that will need to quintuple in price for you to double your money. And so breaking even on, again, a sub $1 junk card is going to require a tripling or quadrupling of the price after you get through shipping costs and market fees. And the other thing to note about these is these are at the uncommon rarity. And so just the population of these cards is going to be really high. And everybody who talks about specking on shrines says, in fact, I think they say it here. Oh, it was in the other spec article about shrines. It says that basically these are for commander only, where you'll only have one copy of each of these cards in a deck. So it's not like every person who decides to play with these cards will be going and buying a 4 set. They'll be buying a single one of each of them. So not only is the population high because these new Goshen Tai shrines are at the uncommon level, but the demand for them is just going to be low. And then the price has to go up 4x, 5x for you to double your money. And, all in all, it's a very bad bet. Then he talks about the original shrines from Kamigawa way back. And so I brought those up. And, some of these are actually in the price range where, hey, if it merely doubles in price, I'll have a little bit of profit, maybe 20, 30%. But again, these are uncommon, and you have to ask yourself, is the population of these too high? Will the demand from casual commander players be high enough to pull this up to make it worth buying right now? And the timing of this article was terrible because it came out on February 1st, and the author of the article implies that, hey, you can get in before the hype, before the price rises. And it's like, dude, we've known shrines are coming in Kamigawa for like months. I mean, there were people laying in their speculative bets on Sanctum of All back in December, and it was getting published by the same website. So I don't really know why you would publish this article so late. Good information in the market is timely, and this is not timely information. So of course we see the Honden of Seeing Winds is the most expensive because it lets you draw cards. And maybe if you went out and bought some copies of this, but even at $8, it's only barely approaching the range where the fixed costs are not going to get you. And so maybe if this one doubles its market price, you could make some money off of it. But still, it's still just terrible bets. So he goes on and he gets through all of those. And he comes to Sanctum of All, which is the really fun one. So when I started doing these videos on these crazy specs on the MTG Finance subreddit and the articles that were published about them on mtgrocks.com, Sanctum of All was in the first article that I did. And there was a guy there. he had bought 217 copies of the Core 21 non-foil regular border version, and he had said he had a basis cost of 67 cents. And so if we go out there and look, man, I mean, the lowest price today, if you want to get one of these, is $3.50. So the price is, it's gone up, what, like 5x? And so you'd think, hey, he's doing pretty good. You know, he made this bet, he got in at 67 cents, and now it's gone up 5x. So we look at the buy list. Well, here are the buy list options for the one he bought: regular, non-foil, regular border. And the problem is, one, the buy list prices just aren't that high. So even when the card goes to $3.50, the buy list prices are still under $2. And there's not enough depth to the buy list. So if you actually open this up and you see how many copies are vendors offering to buy and at what price, it's just not enough. And so I already went through and I just did the math on all of these at a basis cost of 67 cents. If he exhausted the buy list for anything over 67 cents for near mints, and I'll give him credit that every copy he bought was near mint, and so he could satisfy these light play and moderate play buy lists with his near mint cards, completely wear out all the depth in the buy list. The math on it comes out to he'd be able to sell 141 out of his 217 copies, and he'd make $58 profit before you account for shipping. Now, the shipping on this of only 141 cards, it's probably going to be about $4 or $5, so it's not that significant. So by taking on all that risk on the cards he sells, he would have made $58 profit. But again, he'd still be stuck with another nearly 80 copies at a 67 cent basis, which is what, 2/3 of 80 is about, 50 or so. So he'd still have $50 of investment. So overall on the entire bet, he'd be up $8. And then you subtract shipping. So he'd be up about $3. And again, people, this is with the underlying card having quintupled in price. And the guy who was smart, he saw the opportunity early. He bought his copies December and prior. He got in at a low price. He bought a bunch. But even now, after the card has quintupled in price, he is literally up $3 on this huge bet. And so, again, he had somewhere around $140 of investment in this, and he's up $3 at this point. So you can see this advice is terrible even when you make the right bet. Even when you're smart and you get it right, you see the card beforehand, you see the opportunity, and you go for it, the gains just aren't there. And so he goes on and he talks about the Sanctums from Core 21. And again, junk uncommon cards. Even this one at $2.28. That's still not expensive enough. You're probably going to have to double to see any even small gain in the card if you were to go out and buy it now. So the reality of this whole article is this writer is saying, hey, you can get in, before it heats up, and you might want to buy before the prices go up. And here's the reality: the prices for the best card, Sanctum of All, have already gone way up, and even then there's almost no money in these bets. You're just going to have to see moves absolutely to the moon for anything to happen. I didn't go through and look at this last card to see if there was any action on it. Why bother? So stay away from these speculative bets. They're almost always going to be complete or total or near total losses. It's just not worth it. There's much better places to put your money. And, we all want to enjoy this hobby and make some money off of it and kind of mitigate the expense of playing Magic and collecting Magic. But playing the lottery tickets of MTG Finance subreddit specs is not the way to do it. On the long timeline, you're going to lose money on them. So it's unfortunate, but that's the reality. If you like this kind of thing, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and join me on Final Trade. Thanks a lot.